Microsoft Windows. Love it or hate it. For so many of us, it's where our gaming memories were made. Whether you grew up firing up classics from a CD-ROM, downloading shareware from a sketchy dial-up bulletin board, or exploring the golden age of PC gaming, Windows gave us a treasure trove of unforgettable games. So today I'm going to take you on a nostalgic trip through some of my all-time favorite Microsoft Windows games. The ones that kept me glued to the screen for hours, broke my mouse buttons, and well, maybe crashed my computer once or twice. Let's boot it up and dive in. Now, I grew up starting out with old microcomputers like the C64 or the Spectrum, but when I hit my teen years is when I really hit being a gamer, and that was back with my old IBM 486 PC in my room and a collection of games, both DOS and Microsoft Windows. Now, I already did the list of my favorite DOS games, so let's look at my Windows games. With that, I'm Professor Retro, and these are some of my favorite games for Microsoft Windows. Released back in 2000 by Blizzard Entertainment, this Gotham action RPG did raise the bar. It set it. So we're going to break down why Diablo 2 is still one of the greatest games ever made, and why after all these years players still can't stop coming back to it. So let's start off with talking about the atmosphere. From the moment you launch the game, Diablo 2 sucks you into a grim, haunting world. The eerie soundtrack, the gothic environments, the greedy art direction, everything works together to create a mood that's just dripping with tension and dread. Whether you're wandering through the corrupted plains of Act 1, braving the deserts of Lut Gohan, or fighting your way through the fiery pits of hell, every step feels dangerous. This is a world on the edge of collapse, and you're one of the few who can save it. Now, to be honest here, we're all here for the loot. Diablo 2 perfected the loot grind. Randomized gear drops with rare, unique, and set items. The endless chase for better weapons, armor, and charms kept players coming back for just one more run. And when you finally saw that green set item or golden unique dropped, that rush was unbeatable. Add in Heraldric cube recipes, rune words, and the crazy trading economy, the item game was deep and still feels satisfying today. One of Diablo 2's biggest strengths, its classes. Every character, from the spell-slinging sorceress to the undead rising necromancer to the barbarian who just wants to smash everything, feels completely and distinct. And the skill trees, they're just pure magic. You can spend hours theory crafting builds, deciding whether to go for a fire sorceress or a poison necro, or a whirlwind barbarian, or some offbeat hybrid build. There was no right way to play this, just your way. Diablo 2 is the kind of game you can play for years. Between hardcore mode, nightmare, and hell difficulties, the latter seasons, and endless build experimentations, there's always a new challenge waiting. The procedurally generated maps meant no two runs felt the same. You never knew what was lurking around the corner, which kept the game fresh every time you loaded it up. Another reason Diablo 2 has endured, it's the community. Players are still making guides, mods, and balance tweaks even decades later. Mods like Median XL and Project Diablo 2 have breathed new life into the game, and when the release of Diablo 2 resurrected, a whole new generation of players is discovering what made the original so legendary. So, for a hack and slash type game, it's got everything that makes the genre great, as well as an RPG element game as well. And like I said before, the replayability is also what makes this game so awesome. Gameplay changes depending on what build you go with, and it also has an awesome multiplayer feature here. But here's a little secret. You can use the commands for the multiplayer and single player to help you level up faster, but I warn you, that also makes the enemies way tougher, so be prepared for a fight. So if you like a hack and slash combined with an RPG game, then Diablo 2 is the game for you. Fast, brutal, and dark are just a few words I can say to describe Quake. Now, I did an in-depth video on Quake a while back, and I'll put that in the description. Quake was released in 1996 on the PC, and it was not just your ordinary first-person shooter, it was a fully 3D nightmare FPS, which opened the door for other games to come after it. Quake dished the over-the-top demon theme of Doom for something more sinister. Gothic horror with a Lovecraftian vibe, combined with a soundtrack created by Trent Reznor of Nine Inch Nails. Quake was one of the first games where you had to master your movement, like strafe jumping and rocket jumping, which separated casual players from the pros. And then there's the multiplayer aspect. Quake basically invented online deathmatch as we know it today. LAN parties, online servers, the birth of esports, all owe a huge debt to Quake. And let's not forget the modding community. Quake's engine was incredibly mod-friendly. The community made new maps, new weapons, entire new games. Heck, Team Fortress got a start as a Quake mod. So why is Quake such a great game? Well, because it changed everything. A redefined first-person shooter inspired generations of developers and created a community that's still going strong almost 30 years now. I've loved Quake from the very beginning and the first time I played it. I remember playing this game back in college dorm days, where we'd set up and have LAN parties together, and I'd literally basically annihilate them because I'm kind of a veteran of the old Doom-style games of FPS games. Fast, brutal, and dark are just a few words I can say to describe Quake. Now, I did an in-depth video on Quake a while back, and I'll put that in the description. Quake was released in 1996 on the PC, and it was not just your ordinary first-person shooter, it was a fully 3D nightmare FPS, which opened the door for other games to come after it. Quake dished the over-the-top demon theme of Doom for something more sinister. Gothic horror with a Lovecraftian vibe, combined with a soundtrack created by Trent Reznor of Nine Inch Nails. Quake was one of the first games where you had to master your movement, like strafe jumping and rocket jumping, which separated casual players from the pros. And then there's the multiplayer aspect. Quake basically invented online deathmatch as we know it today. LAN parties, online servers, the birth of esports, all owe a huge debt to Quake. And let's not forget the modding community. Quake's engine was incredibly mod-friendly. The community made new maps, new weapons, entire new games. Heck, Team Fortress got a start as a Quake mod. So why is Quake such a great game? Well, because it changed everything. A redefined first-person shooter inspired generations of developers and created a community that's still going strong almost 30 years now. I've loved Quake from the very beginning and the first time I played it. I remember playing this game back in college dorm days, where we'd set up and have LAN parties together, and I'd literally basically annihilate them because I'm kind of a veteran of the old Doom-style games of FPS games. When Myst first released in 1993, it wasn't about high scores or fast reflexes. It was all about immersion, atmosphere, and using your mind to uncover the secrets of an abandoned island. In an era dominated by action games and platformers, Myst did something radically different. So let's first start off with atmosphere. Myst was one of the first games to really feel like a place. The pre-rendered visuals for their time were jaw-dropping. The haunting sound design and ambient music pulled you into a strange, beautiful, lonely world. It was more than a game, it was an experience. Next were the puzzles. These weren't arbitrary abstract challenges. Everything in Myst made sense within its world. Clues were hidden in plain sight, and the satisfaction of figuring them out was immersive. The game respected your intelligence. It never handheld, but it was always fair. And next was the storytelling. Myst told the story through its environment. You are given a long cutscene or massive wall of text. You explore it, you observe, you piece together what happened on this island and in these ages, and the deeper you went, the more intriguing it became. Myst was groundbreaking. It showed us that games could be about discovery, about atmosphere, about mystery, and even today it remains one of the greats, a game that helped redefine what video games could be today. You just get your first Windows PC and reading the directions and getting it all ready. You go to turn it on and you see the Windows labeled game, and here you see a few games on them, and a strange addictive one called Minesweeper. Minesweeper takes literally seconds to learn. Click to reveal tiles, right click to flag suspected mines, that's it. No long tutorials, no complicated menus. You can dive in any time, during your coffee break, between meetings. When your internet's down, you can instantly just start playing. Now, the further you get into, the more intense it becomes. One wrong click and boom, the game's over. That little you lose screen hits hard, but when you finally clear the board, the victory sound, pure euphoria. Minesweeper is a piece of gaming history, by the way. Minesweeper helped teach a whole generation of people how to use a mouse. It came bundled with Windows for decades, because one of the most played PC games ever, you might say it was the first casual game before casual games were even a thing. Now, if you're an early 90s kid or early 2000s kid, or you just happen to browse around on your family's old Windows PC, chances are you know this game. First off, anyone could play Space Cadet Pinball. This is another one of those games like Minesweeper that came bundled with your PC back in the day, with no complicated installs. You didn't need internet, right click and bam, instant fun. Whether you're supposed to actually be doing your homework or your dial-up internet was actually cooperating, this game was ready whenever you were. The controls couldn't be any simpler. 2 buttons, left and right shift. Anyone could pick it up in seconds. No, beneath that simple exterior was actual gameplay depth. You're completing missions, advancing ranks, going for high scores. Space Cadet rewarded skill and strategy. You weren't just mashing flippers, you had to aim your shot, manage the ball, and plan your moves. Now, like I said, for a simple game bundled with Windows, they gave it a sense of progression. You had always had something to chase, just one more mission, one more rank up, and then 2 hours were gone. For the time, and for something that came with Windows, this looked and sounded great. The table design was colorful and clear, the sound effects were chef's kiss. That metallic ball clinking off bumper is so satisfying. It felt just right. That thunk when you launched the ball, you couldn't feel it in your bones. Of course, part of why so many of us love 3D Pinball Space Cadet is pure nostalgia. It's a snapshot of simpler times, when computers weren't gaming rigs, and this was more only game on some machines. And there you have it, some of my favorite games for Microsoft Windows. Whether it's an epic adventure, classic strategy, or fast-paced action, these titles really brought countless hours of fun to the PC. But, of course, this is just my list. What are your favorite Windows games? Drop them in the comments below. I love to hear what you've been playing. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe for more gaming content, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.